What's up, guys? This is Pad. This is a compilation of 25-man TOC, and the Anub video is going to be a separate video because it would span over 10 minutes. The first guy is Gormok the Impaler. It's basically a tank and spank. You need at least 2 tanks for regular 25 because he does a impale bleed effect that has a 30-second duration and it stacks. So you have to end up switching off stinks at about 3 stacks. He also throws out snowballs among the raid that they interrupt cast time, and he also does a staggering stomp, which will interrupt a cast for 8 seconds if you are casting when he does it. Other than that, it's a pretty standard tank and spank fight. This is one of 3 bosses in the first wave of Northrend beasts, which is 3 bosses in one, if you want to put it that way. Next up on the list is Dreadscale and Acid Maw. First off, this fight is basically a DPS race. There's 2 different ways to do this. You can put 1 tank on each and burn one down first, or you can put half your raid on one, half your raid on the other, and basically split DPS. They have separate health pools, so you can kill one before the other. We always burn one first, and then kill the second one when he enrages. The first thing you're going to know about this fight is one will always be stuck on the ground, and one will always be mobile on the ground. Acid Maw, first off, does a AoE acid spew in front of him, so you want to make sure to never face him towards the raid. He will also do a paralytic bite, which inflicts damage to you and then gives you something called paralytic toxin, which slows you over time. He will be throwing around that debuff towards certain people. There will also be the Dreadscale, who will do Burning Bite, which will give you Burning Bile, which ends up getting the acid debuff away. Other than that, they both do a sweep knockback, and they both drop acid pools just like Garbalus, so they do have to be tanked and moved. Other than that, it's a standard tank and spank. Okay, next up is Ice Howl. Ice Howl does a crap load of different crap, which I'll keep it short and sweet. Tanking wise, he does a knockdown effect that stuns the target for 3 seconds and does a massive amount of damage, so healers gotta be on their toes. It's called Ferocious Butt. He does an Arctic Breath, where he will target someone and turn to them. He will freeze everybody in a cone in place, similar to a Frost Nova. The big thing, though, he does a massive crash, where he'll jump into the center and knock everybody back. When he does this, you're going to be stunned for about 5 to 7 seconds. He's going to target somebody, turn to them, jump backwards, and then charge at them. If you're near the person or are the person that gets charged, you got to get the fuck out of the way. Basically, he'll trample you for about 500,000 damage and fucking one-shot you. If he doesn't hit anybody, he'll hit the wall and take 100% more damage for 15 seconds. If he hits somebody, he'll enrage and gain 50% more damage for 15 seconds. But it can be taken off by a trank shot. It's a pretty standard fight. You just gotta watch out for stupid people doing stupid shit. Okay, so now we're at Lord Jaraxxus. After he finishes one-shotting the gnome that was stupid and summoned him, you'll end up engaging him. First things first, you need dedicated interrupters and dedicated purgers and or spell stealers. He's going to cast something called Fell Fireball, which hits the tank for about 25 to 30k, and then does a damage over time. This effect will increase with something called Nether Power, which he will get, which increases magic damage done by about 20% per an application. So you have to make sure that's purged off and get those Fell Fireballs interrupted. The other thing he will do is Fell Lightning, which is basically a chain lightning effect. It doesn't increase as it chains. It hits up to, I believe, 5 people. He will also do an Incinerate Flesh, where he will target somebody and he'll take 60,000 damage. And the only way it'll get taken off is if they take 60,000 healing. Now, he will summon 2 things during this fight. He will summon a Mistress of Pain and Infernals. The Mistress of Pain will come out of basically a smaller version of the portal that he got summoned out of. You want these to be picked up, and they'll target somebody, jump to them, and then jump back to the tank and deal damage to the person they picked up. The Infernals, he will summon basically a tiny volcano, and he'll spawn between 2 to 4 Infernals, and you want to banish them or tank them, DPS them. The other thing they do though is basically they roll up into a big ball and then hop onto somebody. Then they form back into their Infernal form and start doing this AoE. It can be interrupted. You're best to either tank them or banish them, like I said. The other big thing in this fight is a Legion Flame. What a Legion Flame will do is it'll get a debuff on somebody. If you get that debuff, you want to run the fuck out of the raid, because it will basically leave a big ass fucking trail of fire, and it's not fun. Now we are at the faction champions. This fight is a little bit difficult to explain just because it all varies on exactly what you get. For those of you who haven't done faction champions yet, on 25-man it's 10 horde NPCs versus your 25-man raid. It's basically a big PvP arena group because they are affected by diminishing returns and all this shit. CC-wise, you want to basically dedicate 2 different CCers that have 2 different diminishing return cooldowns on one target. So say you want to put like a mage and a warlock on the same target. That way, once the mage can't sheep anymore, the warlock can start fear bombing it and let the sheep diminishing return reset. You really want to keep everything away from each other. You can't AoE them down because they do have an aura where they take 75% less AoE damage, but CC is the key. You want to basically have any paladins utilize their bubble sack and bop healers if they're fucking getting raped. The DPS targets are tauntable, so for Ret Pallies, Hand of Reckoning, if you're Ret, which you should be because you don't need a tank for this fight, Hand of Reckoning does actually do a good bit of damage, and if you're getting overwhelmed as a healer, you can use some PvP gear, but using a full PvP set, you'll just go way too fast. But a lot of our healers did notice that they were taking less damage if they had some resilience. But out of the 5 bosses in regular TOC, this had to be probably the most fucking frustrating. I mean, we one-shotted Twins, we one-shotted New Barak. This took us a little bit to get, but once we got it, we've been one-shotting it every week. Probably one of the funny things though is right here where the Paladin bubbles. We were making jokes over event, wondering if it was going to hearth out or not, but it's a pretty easy fight once you get it down. Like I said, it takes a lot of CC, and it's a real DPS race. We ended up taking out the DPS first and leaving the healers last, because the DPS were actually raping our healers before we could kill their healers, so it's better to take out the DPS first and leave the healers last. That way more people will be alive at the end. Alright, now we're at the Twins. First thing with the Twins is there's 2 different polarities. There's a dark polarity and a light polarity. Now the 2 bosses are Darkbane and Lightbane. Whichever target you're DPSing, you want to have the opposite polarity. If you're DPSing Darkbane, you want to have the light polarity. If you're DPSing Lightbane, you want to have the dark polarity. They both have a joint health pool. One of the big things is they will do a twin pact, which one of them will heal 20% of their total health with a joint health pool. It doesn't seem like a lot. They are protected by a shield of darkness. When they have the shield of darkness, you want all your DPS to switch to that target and DPS down the shield. Once the shield is down, you can interrupt the heal. The other thing they will do is a dark or light vortex, which inflicts about 8 to 10k to everybody in an AoE radius. Whichever target does that, you want to have the same polarity. If Darkbane does it, you want to have the dark polarity. If Lightbane does it, you want to have the light polarity. Now, the other thing too is Power of the Twins, which will increase damage done and chance to hit by 20%, and it stacks. Other than this, the only thing is you will see black and white balls running around. If you absorb the same color ball as your polarity, you will start stacking a buff. When that buff hits 100, you'll start doing 20% extra damage, and every hit you put out expends a charge. So it really increases your DPS. My new video will be coming out probably right after this, so stay tuned, guys. I'm sorry for this video being a little late, but I've been having a little bit of technical difficulties. So stay tuned, and until next time, I'm Padwani.